Hello everyone and welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today has been a stunning day. The sun is shining and the snow is melting, and I've even got a little sunbeam here across my desk. I hope it doesn't pose too much of a problem and that you can still see my card that we're going to make today. Now, this is one of the cards that I made for Onstage when I was there a couple of weeks ago, and it was part of my demonstration cards. Just a simple card, a little piece in the middle with another stamp on, and yeah, that's all it was. These were from the display board. This attached them to the board. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. And to start to make this, you'll need a piece of backing paper, which is our 8.5 by 11. I've chosen Calypso Coral, and I've just cut it down the centre at 4 1/4 and scored at 5 1/2 so that I have a landscape card. Put that there. And then we have 2 pieces of Whisper White at 5 by 3 3/4 and 2 pieces of black at 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And one set will be going on the front of the card and the other set inside. The only other cutting of card that I've done is a piece for my frame. Now, as you know, when I'm sponging, I like to have a little frame. Sometimes I'll make it out of card and sometimes I'll use post-it notes. This one is made out of card. It's exactly the same size as the Whisper White, so 5 by 3 3/4. And then I've used the Lots of Label dies, and I've used, counting from the outside, I've used the second largest. Popped it in the centre, run it through the big shot, and then if you take out the centerpiece, and I've glued it with my non-permanent tape so that it's not too sticky and it's easy to remove, and I've just put it over the white piece that's going to be sponged for the front, and it's made my beautiful mask. Now, the stamps we're using today are part of the Rooted in Nature set, and this is the set that I showed at Onstage, and it has lots of trees and leaves, and also comes with the framelets to cut them out, which is really nice. The only one that doesn't have a framelet is the tree ring, but that's so easy to fussy cut and even to use with one of your punches. Now, these 3 dies, they're actually for debossing. So when you run that through your big shot, you will get the debossed image, and then you can use these leaf framelets just to cut them out, and that looks really pretty. But today we're just using the tree. So I have my mask taped onto my front here, and then I'm going to do just the same as this card in yellows and oranges. But if you can tell from this card, I never do the whole part of the sponging. I like to leave just a little bit off. You can see it goes very pale, and then I haven't sponged all the way along, but your eye still goes around that pattern as though it was there. Here's another card that I've done the same. It's the same framelet, but I did it in blues and purples, and I haven't sponged under here either. I just put the numbers on. This is for one of my special uncles. It's for his 80th birthday. And so yeah, exactly the same, but makes it look totally different whichever way you orientate it, and it just adds that little bit of something if you haven't sponged all the way along. So I'm going to start at the bottom here with the oranges and then lead out to the paler yellows. And my first orange is going to be the Calypso Coral. And as you know, I like to use the little sponge daubers. I always just check them first. I have the names written on so that I don't transfer ink. Yep, that looks good. So little circles right over the mask, Don't worry, you don't have to be brilliant at sponging or anything. It's your card and everyone will look totally different. Okay, now I'm going to use, I'll just pop that away for a moment so it doesn't dry up, and use the Peekaboo Peach, which is a much paler orange. See how it's just much paler, but just the right colour to do the edges before we lead into the yellows. You have to sort of gauge how much of a space you're going to need for the tree and how much of it you would like on the orange and how much you would like in the yellow. But I think that looks about right. Let's put that one away. I'm going to get the darker yellow, which is the crushed curry, next. It's a very pretty colour. You might need a little bit more re-inking this one. It looks like it's drying up a bit, but there's enough for today. So I'm going to start at that top corner, go down and just go over the orange a little bit so that it just mingles in and you can't see a start line and a stop line. And as I say, you don't have to be too precise, because remember, you're going to stamp over as well, just as long as you've got a hint of those colours there. Pop that one away. And the very last of my yellows, going to be the So Saffron. Very light-handed with this last colour. You see, I'm going to leave this right-hand side top corner, just put a little few specks of colour along, but the majority of it I'm leaving. And then I'm going to go over all of the orange with this yellow. Nice. I think I might put just a little bit more orange on. I'll go back to my first orange, the Calypso Coral. Find the right little sponge dauber, just to brighten up that very bottom corner. That's it. See how it just makes it stand out that little bit more. That's it. You don't have to be too precise. Okay, put my little daubers over there. Move them out of the way. And then I'm going to take off the mask. And you'll see I've got some little pieces of the adhesive on here, but they just rub off with your finger. They really don't stay too sticky, and they don't harm the surface of the card either. Okay. So next of all, I'm going to use my Memento Black. I like this black on most of my cards because it's quite a sharp image. Okay, so let's ink it up. Have a look. Oh, need a little bit more at the top, I think. And just let's try that out. I do like to try my stamps first just to check. Now that's not quite as dark as I'd like it, so try again. Put a bit more ink on. Hold it on for a couple of seconds. Oh yeah, that's better. I haven't got that light patch in the middle. Okay, so ink it up for the last time. Right. And then to stamp it onto the front of your card, I've left just a little bit going over onto the white, just so that it leads your eye over a little bit as well. And I've kept the bottom on the very bottom of the sponging. But sometimes it's a bit difficult to see, especially when you don't have photopolymer stamps. So what I like to do sometimes is just get a little piece of scrap paper, put it on the bottom of the orange so I know I don't go over and onto the white there. Turn my stamp over, and then let's see, just about there I think. Put the scrap away. There. Now if you would like your tree to go right down to the bottom and you've left a little line like I have, what you could do is use one of your stamping markers, just fill in the little black at the bottom so that it looks like it's right at the bottom. But I quite like that how it is. So I'm just going to stamp off a little bit, and then I'm going to use my smoky slate, and I'm going to stamp the tree again, but on the inside card. Let's see, I'll turn this scrap over. Yep. So let me find my inside card and just stamp the whole tree. And that just gives the theme inside the card, so you know it sort of transfers from the front and it carries on. And next, let's put this grey away. But next I need to do a little sentiment down here, and this one was from the Rooted in Nature set, to thank you for all you do. But today I want to do one which comes from the Ribbon of Courage, which is this one, which was designed by one of our $1 million stampers. And I just want to do the little courage sentiment. So I want to send this card to my dad, and at the moment he's having a few health issues, and I thought it would just be nice to send him it and for it to say courage. I'll give him a little cheer on his day. So let's see how this is going to stamp. Oh, nice. That one will do. And I'm going to put it straight onto the ink. Here I inked onto a piece of card and I fussy cut it and stuck it out so that it was 3-dimensional, you can see. But on this one I want it straight on my card, so hopefully I'll get it straight. I don't know whether to do it underneath or on the orange. I think I'll go with the orange. There. I've got a little tiny line there from my stamp, but once this is all dry I'll just use my little sand eraser and take that off. This is a little sand eraser that Tombow make, and it will just take ink off, so I can just rub it over there, take that black off, and maybe go over it with my sponge dauber just again. But I will do that later. I won't make you watch me do that. So we'll put fast fuse on the back. Now I'm sorry that this is going to retire. I really like the fast fuse, but I know it's a bit like Marmite, and you either hate it or you love it, and a lot of people find it difficult to use. Okay. And while we're gluing, I'll glue the inside piece as well, again with my fast fuse. Whoops. Put it onto the black with the tiny little border. And then this one I will glue to the inside of my card. But I'm not ready to glue the front down yet. We just have something else that we need to do with the front. Just line it up. There we go. Just makes the inside look pretty when you carry over the theme. And often what I'll do is I'll stamp on the envelope too, and that makes a nice set. Okay, so we'll go back to this. And as you can see, I've got twine on here, and it's part of the twine from the Rooted in Nature set that came in the 4 colours, like the Calypso Coral and the Blackberry Bliss and the Mint Macaron, and then the soft suede. I'm going to use the soft suede again, and what I did was I made it so that there were just 2 layers or 2 rows of the twine on each side, and it went over one and under, over, under, over, under, just so that the twine was held a little bit and made it a little bit easier to put on. So I need some fast fuse on the back, and then all I did, the first one, I just wound it round twice. There's one, twice, and I'll find my little snips. I did try winding it all around and not cutting the edges off, but I found that it got into an awful knot and a taffle, and I didn't have the patience for a taffle. So then did the same at the bottom, just twice round. So once, twice. I did find as well that doing it this way, I didn't use quite as much twine, and I was able to use some of my little offcuts too. So a little bit more frugal. Okay, so there it is round twice. I'll put a little bit more on, more of the fast fuse on, ready for the pieces of twine that are going to go this way. So the top one I'm going to go over. Oh, let me cut a piece off. So the top one over, and then the bottom one, oops, I'm going to go under, and it's easy just to thread it. It's not a problem. Okay. I'm going to go around again, over at the top, under at the bottom. Pull it through. Decide just whereabouts you want it. Move that one along a little piece. There we go. Secure it onto the fast fuse at the back and cut a little bit off. And then the same at the other side. But here it will go under, and at this side it will go over. So, cut a piece off. You could measure it if you wanted to, but just for the camera and for saving time, I'm just snipping. So, let's attach it to the fast fuse so that it holds it. Under at the top, over at the bottom, once. Thread it under, and then over. Don't worry if it's not straight at the moment. We can play with that and straighten it up, no problem. It's very forgiving. So move it along to wherever you want. And then to adhere it to the cardstock, I'm just going to use dimensionals. Let's find my little pokey tool. Here we go. And I like to put quite a few on and put a little bit over where the twine is, so that if it does happen to come off the fast fuse, it's unlikely that it'll come off the fast fuse and off the dimensional. There we go. Take the little backings off. These little backings get everywhere. I have been known to go for a bath and find a couple of them floating in the bath. So they seem to stick to you, a little bit static. But don't be surprised, you find them in all sorts of places. Okay, and then just going to line it up. And there's our card for today. So very pretty, very effective little card, and people will think it took you much longer than it actually did. There's my one from On Stage, and here's the one that I did in purple, in the Rich Razzleberry. In fact, I think it was Blackberry Bliss. I think I used Blackberry Bliss on that one. Okay. So thank you for watching today. If you'd like to subscribe, don't forget to press the little subscribe button, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.